Let's talk about an example of linear and angular speed. So the example is an object sweeps out a central angle of pi over 3 radians in 0.3 seconds as it moves along a circle of radius 9 meters. So as you can see, it is given that my central angle is pi over 3 radians. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write what is given in my question. So as you can see, it is given that my central angle theta is pi over 3 radians. Pi over 3 radians. Now, if you look closely, the time is given as 0.3 seconds. So the time t is given as 0.3 seconds. And as you can see, the point is given in decimal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write in fractions. So instead of writing 0.3 seconds, I'm going to write it as 3 over 10 seconds. 3 over 10 seconds. So our time is given as 3 over 10 seconds. And the radius, our radius is given as 9 meters. So the radius R is given as 9 meters. If you remember, the formula for the angular speed was omega is equal to theta over t, where this theta, the angle, the central angle, should be in what? Radians. Now, let's look at the question if the angle is given in radians or not. So, if you look at the question, the angle is given in radians. So, what we can do, we can use value of central angle theta is equal to pi over 3 radians over here. So, if we do that, we will write omega is equal to pi over 3 divided by time t is 3 over 10 seconds. So I will write 3 over 10 seconds. And if we simplify, we will get pi over 3 times, I am dividing a fraction by a fraction, so I will flip it. So that will be 10 over 3. So if we simplify, I will multiply 10 with pi. So if I do that, I will write 10 times pi is 10 pi over 3 times 3 is 9. So I got my angular speed omega as 10 pi over 9 radians per second. Alright? Now, we need to find the linear speed. So we know that linear speed V is equal to R omega. So my radius is right here, which is what? 9 meters. So I will write speed V is equal to radius 9 meters times omega, which is my angular speed from here. This is my angular speed, which is 10 pi over 9. So I will write 9 meters times 10 pi over 9 radians per second. Now, as you can see, this 9 and this 9 can cancel out. So only thing left is what? 1. So I have only what? 1 meter times 10 pi over 1 radians per second. So 1 meter is basically 1 meter over 1. So 1 times 10 pi is what? 10 pi, and then 1 times 1 is 1. So I have 10 pi over 1. So as you can see, 10 pi over 1 is basically what? 10 pi meter per second. And this is my linear speed. So my answer is my angular speed is omega, that is 10 pi over 9 radians per second, and my linear speed v is equal to 10 pi meters per second. And this is what we had to find in this question. And this is how we will solve a question based on linear and angular speed.